Imagine walking into a courtroom and hearing wild claims. Today, we dive into a testimony that rocked Shabazz enterprise. An officer claimed Combs approached him with a wad of cash. The story unfolds around a surprising encounter. The officer described a moment filled with tension and intrigue. It raises questions: what was the cash for? Was it an attempt to influence? Let's break down the testimony step by step. First, the officer recounts the moment he saw Combs. He noticed Combs was visibly nervous. Next, Combs approached with cash in hand. This raised immediate concerns for the officer. The officer explained his feelings. He knew something didn't add up. Combs' actions were out of the ordinary. In law enforcement, unusual behavior often signals deeper issues. Now, let's explore the implications. If true, this testimony could lead to serious consequences for Combs. It raises suspicions about his intentions. Is this an attempt to buy influence or silence? Consider a similar scenario. Imagine a friend offering you lunch to avoid a discussion. The act could seem innocent. Yet, it can create doubt about their motives. This puts the officer's actions and Combs' intentions into perspective. To summarize, the officer's testimony creates a whirlwind of questions. Combs approached with cash, raising eyebrows and suspicions. We must consider the wider picture and its implications. Stay informed and connected. This case is far from over, and updates will follow. Subscribe to Shabazz Enterprise News for the latest insights. Don't miss the chance to stay in the know. As the officer continued his account, he noted how Combs' eyes darted around the courtroom, searching for anyone who might overhear their exchange. The atmosphere grew thick with suspense, making each second feel like an eternity. Combs then whispered, "Please just take it," as he extended the cash, an act that sent shivers down the officer's spine. The officer hesitated, despite the compelling allure of the cash, and quickly assessed the situation. He recalled the training: always report unusual behavior, regardless of the temptation to overlook it. Deciding to maintain his integrity, he firmly replied, "No, this isn't how we do things." Combs' expression shifted, revealing a mix of desperation and resolve, igniting a pivotal moment that would ripple through the trial. The officer pressed on, detailing how Combs' demeanor transformed in that tense moment, revealing a glimpse of vulnerability masked by bravado. The courtroom seemed to hang on this crucial point, as if the air had thickened with unspoken possibilities. Combs then leaned in closer, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, filled with urgency, "You don't understand what's at stake here." This bold admission seemed to grasp the attention of everyone present, reminding them that beneath the surface of this legal battle lay deeper, more perilous stakes. Would this encounter change the course of the case, or would it merely serve as another layer in a complex web of deceit? That's the question lingering in everyone's mind as the testimony unfolds, promising even more twists ahead. The officer took a deep breath, keenly aware of the weight of Combs' words. "What do you mean by that?" he asked, curiosity piqued. Combs shifted nervously, glancing at the jury, then back at the officer, his voice trembling as he responded, "People's lives depend on this. It's bigger than you think." This declaration hung in the air, igniting a charged atmosphere in the courtroom. The officer's instincts urged him to dig deeper, sensing that every detail could unlock secrets hidden beneath the surface of this case. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation, as the officer contemplated his next move. With Combs' haunting words echoing in his mind, he realized the enormity of the situation. This was more than just a simple exchange, it was a critical juncture that could redefine everything. Trust and deception stood precariously in balance. The officer's voice steadied as he posed the crucial question, "What exactly do you mean?" The courtroom leaned in, every pair of eyes fixated on the unfolding drama. Combs took a deep breath, his facade cracking slightly as he glanced at the jury again, seeking their empathy. "Look, if this goes wrong, innocent people could suffer," he implored, his voice barely above a whisper, yet charged with urgency. The officer's brow furrowed, torn between his duty and the vulnerability in Combs' tone. This was no longer just about cash, the implications of Combs' words weighed heavy on the officer's mind. How deep did this threat run? The courtroom fell into a hushed silence, a palpable tension enveloping the space as spectators exchanged nervous glances. Combs pressed on, desperation creeping into his voice as he continued, "I'm involved in something far beyond my control." Each word carried the weight of unspoken truths, pushing the narrative into unfamiliar territory. The officer's instincts flared, sensing the gravity of Combs' admission as he probed further, "What do you mean by something bigger?" Combs shifted once more, his eyes darting to the door, the fear of being overheard constricting his voice yet tighter. "There are powerful people who don't want this to come out. They will do anything to silence me," he replied, the urgency of his warning resonating in the courtroom like a loaded gun ready to fire. Every ear strained to catch the next revelation, the stakes now significantly higher as the officer contemplated the broader implications of what Combs had just disclosed. Combs leaned in closer, lowering his voice even more, almost conspiratorial. "I can't go into details, but lives are at stake here, officer. You have to believe me," he pleaded, his desperation laid bare in the dim light of the courtroom. The officer's heart raced, the unease swelling within him as Combs continued, "If I go down, they will come after everyone connected to me, and you." He paused, letting the implication hang in the air, "You'll be next." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom as the weight of this threat settled into the consciousness of those present. The tension became almost unbearable, every eye fixed on the officer as he took a moment to absorb the gravity of Combs' words. Would he choose to expose a convoluted conspiracy or shield himself from the uncertainty that lay ahead? His breathing quickened as he processed Combs' chilling warning, a wave of responsibility crashing over him. Decisions made in this moment could reverberate far beyond the courtroom walls. The officer's mind raced, visions of potential lives disrupted swirled around him, igniting a fierce storm of doubt and determination. "This is about more than just us, isn't it?" he finally replied, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. Combs nodded vigorously, eyes wide with insistence, as he pressed further, "You need to understand the magnitude of what's happening. If I testify, there will be consequences that none of us are prepared for." The implication of danger loomed in the air, heavy with unspoken peril, causing the officer to instinctively lean closer, caught between his duty to uncover the truth and the fear of what that truth could unleash. The jury, holding their breath, sensed the tension building, waiting for the wave of revelations that seemed poised to crash over them. As the courtroom buzzed with unease, they knew one thing for certain: every word exchanged could either be a thread that unravels the entire case or a noose that tightens further, pulling everyone deeper into a web of deceit. The officer's brow furrowed deeper, grappling with the gravity of Combs' revelation. "You speak of consequences, but what kind?" He searched Combs' eyes, hoping for clarity amid the chaos. Combs licked his lips, anguish etched across his face as he stated, "I'm talking about people being harmed, families ripped apart. It's not just me on the line." The courtroom sat frozen, feeling the burden of his words saturate the air. An uneasy silence fell, each spectator contemplating the human stories beneath the surface. The officer swallowed hard, acutely aware of the labyrinth of decisions that lay ahead. "What do you need from me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Combs leaned in, urgency radiating from him. "I need you to consider the lives affected before you make your judgment. They'll stop at nothing to protect their interests." The weight of that threat loomed large, shifting the dynamics in the room. With every passing second, the stakes escalated, turning the courtroom into a battleground, not just for justice, but for survival. The officer clenched his fists, heart pounding in his chest. The truth was gaining momentum, yet shadows of doubt and danger cloaked the path forward. The dialogue was not merely a testimony, it had morphed into a desperate plea for understanding amid fear, and every eye present knew that the outcome could alter lives forever. "Please understand," Combs urged, his voice trembling yet resolute, "there are forces at play here that transcend this courtroom." His eyes reflected a deep-rooted fear, echoing the urgency of his plea. The tension was palpable, and as Combs spoke, the reality of the situation pressed heavily upon everyone present, urging them to grasp the weight of his words. The officer took a step back, soul-searching in that moment, recognizing this wasn't merely a transaction, their fates were intertwined in an unpredictable tapestry of treachery. "I can't promise anything," he replied, steadying himself for the road ahead. Justice had its own price, and now, it felt costly.